Are you constantly asking everyone what they think before making a decision? Or do you second guess yourself even though deep down you already know the answer? You're not alone because I used to do that too. But once I stopped relying on everyone's opinion, everything changed. And maybe it's time that you do the same too. So in this video, we'll be discussing on why you might be constantly relying on other people's advice, what happens when you trust yourself first, and what to do with the advice that has been given to you. If you're new here, hi, my name is Isabel. On this channel, we empower each other and talk about all things investing in your physical and mental health, all while maintaining balance in your life. If you want to level up in all areas of your life, come along with us for a ride, grab a drink or a snack, and let's get on with the video. So the first reason is that you probably don't trust yourself enough to make the right decision for yourself. Someone who doesn't trust their own instincts might second guess even the simplest decisions like what to wear today or what to order at a restaurant. Maybe they grew up in an environment where their opinions were always dismissed, or they were made to feel like they were often wrong. Over time, this can lead to the internal belief that I cannot make good decisions. So rather than risking being wrong again, they defer the responsibility of making the decision to another person. It's not that they cannot decide, but it is because they believe that their decisions are not valid. And next is that you might be scared of making a mistake, which can lead to embarrassment, judgment, or a consequence. By constantly asking for advice, you are trying to avoid the blame. And it becomes a form of emotional protection because when things go wrong, we can simply say that we did it because someone else told us to. Or maybe you're a perfectionist. To you, decisions aren't just decisions, they're moral tests. What you wear isn't about comfort or expression, it's about looking perfect. Choosing a career isn't just about interest, but it's about making the right choice that aligns with success, approval, and security. So when perfection is the standard, it becomes so stressful when it comes to decision making, because anything less than perfect feels like a failure. So to try and cover all bases, you tend to ask for a lot of opinions. Asking for advice can also be a way for you to forge connection and to get validation. For example, asking a friend, should I wear this? Might not really be about the outfit. It might be about wanting affirmation and emotional closeness, which can be thoughts like, do you see me? Do you like me? Do you think I'm okay? And lastly, anxiety and indecisiveness can also lead to asking for a lot of opinions. An anxious mind tends to overthink and replay a lot of the worst case scenarios in their heads. And this makes decision making really exhausting. Rather than sit in the discomfort of uncertainty, someone with anxiety might pass on the decision making to somebody else. Even if the advice isn't perfect, it quiets the noise temporarily. But it's a short-term fix that can lead to a lot of self-doubt in the future. And so when I stopped asking everyone for their opinion, something amazing happened. I started hearing my own voice again. No fear, no noise, just me. I started to be more aware of my preferences and I had a clearer understanding of myself, which definitely gave me more confidence. I was finally asking questions like, do I even like this? Rather than, would others approve of this? I realized that I had been living a life based on expectations and not desires, and that's a heavy way to live. So one journaling question I started using was, if no one knew I made this decision, what would I choose? It helped me to remove the need for approval and started seeing what I really wanted underneath. And this gave me the confidence to make decisions on my own, even if the decisions weren't perfect. So one example is that I don't ask for opinions on the color of my mani-pedis anymore. I used to be so worried that the color that I chose was not nice. But now I think, who cares? I'm the one having to see my own nails every day. I'm the one paying the money for it. If I like it, I'll go for it. And even if the color isn't nice or it's not what people expect, I know I can stand by my decision because it's the decision that I made for myself. And if this sounds intimidating, we can all start small. We can start by making small decisions and then accumulating them. So I call them solo decision reps. Pick what to eat without asking, or choose an outfit without sending a pic for approval. These micro decisions add up because they teach your brain that your opinions matter. So other than my mani-pedis, I also began to decide on things on a bigger scale. Back when I was in junior college, I had decided to stay another year because I felt that I was not ready for my national exams. I took an extra year to switch from chemistry to economics because deep down I knew that I had no interest in chemistry and I would not pursue a career in chemistry. I had friends begging me to stay in the same year as them, but I knew that it was what I needed to do. And even though it meant having to make new friends and starting in a whole new environment, it's almost 10 years later and I'm still glad that I made that decision. And also when I started to trust myself first, I became less reactive and more grounded. When others don't agree with the decision that I made, it doesn't really bother me anymore. Because I'm so used to trusting myself over the accumulated decision making. I know myself and my situations way more than others. In the past, when others didn't agree with the decision that I made, I would either get super defensive or very emotional. Because all I wanted wanted was approval and validation from others. And truthfully, not everyone will get your decisions, and that's totally okay. You're not building a life that makes sense to everyone, but you're building a life that is honest to you. The main thing that I got from trusting myself first is surely a relationship that I built with myself. A relationship that feels solid and stable. It's not that every decision that I made moving forward is perfect, but the self-trust that I gained over the years and the ability to remain less reactive has helped me to truly love myself, take responsibility for the decisions that I make, and be confident in making future choices despite having made mistakes in the past. And this is not to say that we shut everyone out and refuse any form of suggestion in our lives. There is value in listening to advice and opinions. So how do we actually benefit from other people's opinions? The first is to be selective on who gets a seat at the table of your life. In other words, choose wisely who you listen to. Before asking for an opinion, you can ask yourself, does this person genuinely care for me and have the same values that I do? Do they have my best interests at heart? Because there are certain times that we do not see the whole picture, or that we're too blinded by emotions to make a good decision. That is when these people play a huge role in our lives, to steady us and keep our heads straight. Being selective will cut down a lot of the noise when we are trying to make a decision. In fact, if we truly practice this, we will realize that we don't have a lot of people to ask advice from. Another practice that I believe is so important is to know your why. So before asking for an opinion, have a check-in with yourself. And you can ask yourself, do I actually want an insight in this situation, or do I just need someone to tell me that it's okay to trust myself? Because there is a big difference. Helps you to stay in control on how you receive the feedback. You'll be less likely to blindly absorb whatever comes your way. Doing this will also help you to receive opinions from a place of empowerment and not of fear. It also helps to think of each person's opinion as a tool and not the whole blueprint. Treat advice as data and not direction. You have to remember that you are still the architect of your own life. The more you practice balancing external input from internal trust, the stronger and more grounded you will feel. Trust me. The people that you love can offer insights and perspectives, but at the end of the day, you live with the outcome, not them. When you're struggling with a decision, here's a little exercise that you can do. First is to write down the decision that you're trying to make, and then list down 3 reasons for it that comes from you and you alone. Then write down 1 to 2 outside opinions and ask yourself which version feels more like the person that I want to become. And the last step is to create a timeline. So give yourself a day or 2 to gather your thoughts and just make that decision. And this can go on for weeks and weeks when deep down you know you're just afraid to commit. And for those of you out there who are just getting on your journey on making decisions for yourself, I'm here to remind you that being scared is super normal. I'm not gonna lie, when I started on my own journey, it was really scary as well. I had thoughts like, what if I mess up? Or what if others were to judge what I chose? Or what if people thought a certain way about me? But honestly, making mistakes I chose for myself feels so much better than living a life that's curated by other people. Because at least I was the one who brought myself to this place, be it a good or bad place. So if this is you right now, someone who's always looking for another person to confirm your next step, I want you to know that it doesn't make you weak or incapable. It just means that you care. You want to make the right decision and you don't want to mess up. But here's what I've learned. That sometimes we're not actually looking for guidance, but we're looking for permission. Permission to trust ourselves, permission to take the risk, permission to not be perfect. And when you don't trust your own voice, it becomes so easy to let other people's voices drown your own voice out. I'm here to remind you that you don't need permission to pursue your own path. You don't need permission or validation to live the life that you want to live. So if you've been overthinking, over-asking, and basically overall feeling overwhelmed, this is your sign. You don't need 10 people's input to make one choice. You just need your own inner yes. And I promise the more you practice, the stronger your inner voice will get. So let me know down in the comments if this is something that you're going through and you are not alone, and I'd love to hear your story. And also let me know what other topics you guys would love to see from me. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!